welcome to this week's Cats Whiskers TV. Thanks for tuning in as always. On this week's show, we'll be looking back at all the Elite League games over the weekend. We'll be speaking to the new manager of the Bunkers Hill Inn and what are the plans that he's got for the place where we record the show. We'll be looking ahead to this week's games and there may be some talk about black ice. But first, it's Paul Barn with the news.
I'm Paul Baum, and this is the return of the news. Steelers launch new Spot the Puck competition. Thanks for that one, Joe. Steelers' new goal music now available on iTunes. It's not black, it's navy, say Steelers' new cheerleading group. Been ready? And that was the news.
So that was the return of the news. Man, did I miss that over the summer. Anyway, the Elite League kicked off this weekend and it was a home game against Hull. So very positive game. 2 points collected. Could have been slightly different though. Maybe the scoreline is a bit, doesn't tell the whole story. What's your view on it, Paul?
I think it does. I think it flattered us a lot. I mean, if Ben Bound's 5-hole hadn't grown to the size of the Humber Estuary in the third period, then it could have been a lot tighter game. But Hull pulled it back to 3-3, and I was worried, because they were a lot better than we were in the second period. But I think we deserved to win, but there's no way it was a 9-3 game.
No. Very true, very true. Obviously, Lacko hat-trick would be the standout part of the game. Great hat-trick as well, wasn't it?
Yeah, he was outstanding, absolutely outstanding all game, all weekend in fact. But everything seems to be going through him, and I think, we'll see on some take later from the Sheffield game. Both me and Andy Haywood will be discussing Lacko, and we think this could be a breakout season for him. I mean, he's been superb for us since he came back from Manchester. But he seems a different level so far this season. I mean, I know it's only early days, but they seem to have built the team around him a little bit, or certainly built that line around him with Francis and Salters on there.
Yeah. I mean, I think when you look back over every year, he has progressed and he is maturing, and maybe this is a year where he's actually going to be one of the main, if not the main star in the team.
I mean, it could well be, but so that line of him, Francis and Salters was running the opposition ragged all weekend, and while that's happening, that's great, but you've got to look as well to the other lines, because everybody's going to be looking at that line now and thinking, if we stop them, we stop the Panthers. That's when the other ones have got to step up. Yeah,
I mean, and to be fair, they did do, didn't they? Because there was plenty of goal scorers on the sheet as well. Lacko hat-trick, like we say, but there was goals from pretty much every line. So that shows obviously promise going forward. But just a quick word on Hull. They put up a good fight.
I think the first period they got overrun a bit. I mean, we outshot Hull 96 in the first, was 3-1 up, and you thought, we're looking comfortable. But full credit to the Stingrays, they really came back into it in the second period. And I don't think it was the fact that we were that bad in the second period. I just think they were really, really good. They was exploiting holes at the back. They was getting forward. They've got some real speed on that team. They're really, really quick transition from defence to attack. And I've got to say, I was really, really impressed with them. And I think, like Paul says, 9-3 certainly flattered us in that game. Hull didn't deserve that sort of scoreline. And the thing is, if they can come to the NIC and play like that, like they did in the second period, then they should be a team to watch out for this season.
And good old Tendler, he was on the score sheet as always.
Yeah, well, he's the quality. If anybody's going to put the cherry on the muffin, it's going to be him.
I tell you what, all joking apart, it was a lovely strike as well.
It was.
It was an absolutely beautiful strike.
Not as good as Francis's.
He's going to be up there, though, isn't he, Tendler? He's going to be one of the leading goal scorers of this season, isn't he?
You looked at that line of Tendler, Silverthorne, and Mr. A. Stingray. Sorry, and that
with the skates on.
Yeah, that's narrowed it down. And that was a really potent line. They were looking dangerous all night.
Yeah, absolutely.
They're going to be relying on him quite a lot, aren't they, throughout the season?
Yes, I think so. Yeah.
But anyway, after the game, we caught up with a few fans. Here's what they had to say.
Here we go. Yeah, brilliant start to the season. Can't wait to see more games. Really good.
I thought it was a good performance for the first game of the season. I thought we've obviously got some quality across the team and we've got some size as well. You couldn't ask for more in the scoreline.
It was a great game. It was fantastic to see the Panthers just being so ruthless, taking all the opportunities. They didn't capitalise on absolutely every chance, but it was great to see them getting so many shots at goal. Hull, I thought, were quite typical, unfortunately. They gave us a good game for 2 periods, and then in the third just kind of collapsed, which is kind of what I've seen from them for the last couple of seasons. So it was really good. It was really good for the first 2 periods to see them sort of really going for it. But I think in the third they just gave us too many opportunities. And Bounds just had a bit of a meltdown as well. But yeah, all in all, really fantastic. It was really good to see Dan Green get his 100% shutout as well. So yeah, fantastic. Great to watch.
So I was looking for a fight. He seemed a bit disappointed he wasn't getting one. Otherwise, good game.
Good performance for 2 periods. Plenty of potential from the players, but too early to make a judgment. I think last year showed that you've got to give it time.
Well, I thought tonight, Capraro played really well. I thought K-Wall did the best job possible, and I felt it was a good time to put Dan Green in when they traded netminders. But Salters played a very, very good game. Power forward. He was good on the forecheck. He was getting in everyone's face. Very good on the intimidation front. Eric Werner, it was as though he'd never missed a game's training. And I was very impressed with Lacko. Lacko thoroughly deserved his man of the match. His 2 goals were very well taken. And I'm also looking forward to seeing how Boxall improves. He's very good at lighting the lamp. And he seems to find himself in the right place at the right time. And he's very gritty for a British Brawn player.
Strange as it seems, we did catch up with a Cardiff fan and, well, just have a watch.
I'm not going to lie, I'm pretty pleased with the results. It's all turned out really well. You got to remember, it's got to be shampoo and condition, and then it turns out looking like this, and then Bob's your uncle. So, job done as far as I'm concerned.
Don't know what you say about that, do you?
Move on. You can.
Anyway, forward 24 hours, and it was a Challenge Cup game against Sheffield. Jono and Andy Haywood start off the footage.
So, big game tonight. Andy joins us. What do you reckon?
I think it's going to be very tough. I certainly think Sheffield are the favourites today. We've played all right. We had a pretty comfortable game yesterday against Hull, but I certainly think on paper Sheffield are the better team in the league. But obviously it depends on lots of different things: black ice, refs.
Well, just talking about the black ice, you've been inside, you've seen it. Is it as bad as it is being made out to be?
No, I don't think it is. It's dark. My only issue is it is inside the goal, which could create problems. I think the whole player safety thing behind the net, I don't think there's going to be too much of an issue there. So.
Right, okay. Do you think it might get changed before the season's out?
Depends how many goals Sheffield don't get. If it works for them tonight, they'll love it. If it works against them, then not long.
Next game, then probably. Okay. Who do you think are the sort of key players for us, key players for them?
To be brutally honest, I've not really seen much of Sheffield at all. I've literally watched the highlights from the Ljubljana game, and they look pretty good. That Spencer, who most people seem to think was going to be a weak link, I've heard nothing but good things about him. So he's going to be physical tonight. Farter's going to be physical tonight. Obviously, people like Ligui and Dowd, we know what they can do and what they're capable of. And to be fair, it's battle of the best goaltenders, by what most people seem to think. I think for us, obviously Salters is going to be quite important tonight, I think. But I think, a lot of the guys, Bob Wren and Capraro, if he can get goal scoring again. He got one last night, and if they can click, especially on the power play, where they've looked so good, then we could hopefully punish them there, and that would be our big chance, I think.
we could say it's only a Challenge Cup game, but it sets down a marker for the rest of the season, doesn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, at the end of the day, I'd far rather beat them every league game of the season and lose every cup game of the season to them. But with this being the first meeting between the two teams, it means a hell of a lot more. Okay. Because it's all about momentum, this game, and it's all well and good playing them 10 weeks, 10 games down the line in a meaningless Challenge Cup group game, and you sort of say, well, we'll play a few of the younger kids and rest a couple. It doesn't really matter, but at the end of the day, this is the first time we've played them today. It means so much to everyone, with both sets of fans and the clubs respectively, that a huge marker is going to be set down today.
Okay. Well, thanks, Andy. We'll get your thoughts again after the game. Yeah.
Okay, thoughts on the game? Didn't come up here expecting that. Thought it'd be a much tighter game. Awesome. Can't wait for the rest of the season.
So, 4-1 victory for the Panthers, and I think a pretty easy one, it has to be said. What say you?
It was comfortable. Sheffield had good possession, I thought, especially the latter stages of the second period and the final period, but they didn't really create many grade A chances around Kowalski. I think Kowalski would himself feel that he had a pretty comfortable night tonight. I don't think we particularly created that many chances, but the puck fell to us kindly a couple of times. The Francis's fourth goal was a nice pass by Salters, and Franny mishandled it but managed to get it away quicker than Doyle could get across. I thought it was a bit flat, the game in general.
Yeah, I'd agree totally.
From both sides. I thought it was lacking any real sort of spark. Whether that's just a case of two teams feeling each other out or not, I'm not sure.
I mean, I thought one of our strengths tonight was how quickly we closed them down, which didn't really give them that many chances. There was always seemed to be a player forechecking straight on the puck, and they was restricted to long shots. What do you think?
Yeah, I completely agree. I made a comment a few times tonight on the tweets for the hockey, saying how well we forechecked and how hard we battled along the boards tonight. The Salters Francis Lakovic line is terrorising defenders, putting them under so much pressure because Salters is big and is intimidating players, but Lakovic and Franny are just skating around constantly working their tails off, and then you got Benedict and Loins and Caprero and Ryan, they're all doing exactly the same, and it's really good to see.
I thought Robert Lakovic was outstanding tonight. Everything seemed to be coming through him, and that's 2 games now where he just seems to have gone up yet another level.
Absolutely, this will be his breakout season, unless when the hair goes, so does the talent. But I'm pretty confident that this is going to be Lako's breakout season. He's been close to reaching a point a game a couple of times now, and I think this will be the year where he finally breaks that.
I think one final point about the Steelers, I think after all the hype that we've heard from them, I mean, a lot of people's favourites to win the league, but they disappointed me tonight. I expected a lot more from them, and it just never seemed to materialise.
Yeah, completely agree. I thought their old guard, the players that have come back, your Fatters, your Myers, Legui, Phillips, Hewitt, to be fair, Dowd's played over here before. I thought they were all very, very quiet tonight, almost non-existent. I was quite impressed with Lecroix. He had some good chances. He created them pretty much all on his own. Baldwin looked pretty solid in defence. Langley had quite a decent game, considering that he was rubbish when he played in Belfast. And Doyle was a pretty good netminder. Certainly an upgrade on De Caro, I thought.
I'm Rob Lakovic, and you're watching Cats Whiskers TV.
So a fantastic result there for the Panthers. I mean, there's been a lot said over the last day or so about the game, about, Sheffield didn't turn up, it was easy for us. I mean, what would you was obviously at the game, Jono, what's your view?
Now I've slept on it overnight. I think we really didn't have to get out of second gear. And I was saying to Paul as we was on our way here, I don't think I've ever been at a game at Sheffield Arena where I felt so comfortable, not nervous, not anxious. It was a stroll. It was an absolute stroll. And Sheffield, and I know a lot can be said, it's like Sheffield fans were saying, yeah, we were rubbish, but actually they've got a point. They were terrible. They were absolutely awful yesterday. Panthers easily shut them out. Craig Kowalski as Andy said there in the footage, comfortable. He didn't look. He never looked in trouble all night. I think they had two clear-cut chances, which is the one they scored. They got a 1-on-0 from short-handed, and Kowalski made a great save. And that was it. That's all they offered all night. Our defence was superb in just restricting them to long shots and making it very, very easy for Craig Kowalski. And you know, a lot was said about Robert Dow coming back. Hardly noticed him all night. Hardly noticed him.
I mean, if you listen to Big Doug's interview afterwards with Simsey, he says it's the worst performance that he's seen from the 5 games that he's watched his team play. I mean, is it good that, you know, they've got it out of the system straight away, or is that a sign, you know, really you want to be winning that game like you mentioned on last week's show?
Yeah. I mean, it's too soon to know, isn't it? You know, really, you know, but will they be that bad again? But you know, I mean, and how much of that is spin for the people listening? You know, like we record this because a majority of Panthers fans are our audience, but we cover other things. How much of that they know it's going to be Sheffield fans in the main watching it? How much of that is for them? Yeah, we just don't know. But I mean, it's too early to tell, I think.
I mean, psychologically, how much of a hit is that for Sheffield, and how much of a positive is it for Panthers that we went into their barn and, you know, like we've all said, sort of it was easy?
Well, you know, it sets it up for the game on the 21st, doesn't it? Good seats still available, apparently.
Thanks, Gary.
Book now to ensure disappointment. And, you know, it sets it up. They're not going to like it. It's, you know, they'll probably come out and say, oh, it was only in the cup. We've done the same thing. Come on, who hasn't? Yeah. But they're not going to want to lose to us, especially at home. You know, we've gone in there, we've taken 2 fairly easy points. They're not going to like that. They're going to remember that. And we've played, you know, Sheffield in situations like this before. We played them when they're coming off a really long for them losing streak, and they came back and beat it. You know, it's like you don't. The most dangerous animal is a cornered rat.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, so you never sort of say, oh, this is. You know, you enjoy it while you can, and you take that buzz from it. You don't discount them.
No, very true. I mean, and like I said last week, there's a lot of pressure on Sheffield this season for me. You know, they've gone out, they've taken a manager from, you know, a rival team. They've spent money, you know, in the team. They've redone the arena up, which, you know, we'll talk about later on as well. You know, there is a lot of pressure, and that's not the greatest start against your biggest rivals, is it?
I mean, it was a complete disaster really for Sheffield last night. They had a huge crowd. I mean, 7,300, which is a brilliant crowd for a Challenge Cup game. They got the people in. There was a load of problems with car parking in the arena. Obviously, the arena had been refurbished. The plexi was all nice and clean, and apparently. If you low down, there's some distortion when you look through it. So, you know, I think Tony Smith probably went home last night and was scratching his head on the table because the team just didn't turn up. The fans did. And how many of them will be turning up again?
Well, I suppose that's the question, isn't it, really?
It is. I mean, it's not a great advert for them, is it?
No, but I mean, from the positive, you'd hope that people would give them another chance, and you know, it is one game, and
this is Sheffield though, and we all know how fickle their fans can be, and they'll probably be complaining about that, but it's true. We all know that as soon as things start going wrong, they start disappearing.
Well, when things are going right, they start disappearing. They won the league one year, and their attendance has dropped over the course of the season. Didn't see that happening in Nottingham.
Well, you know, there's plenty more games left over the season, and I'm sure there'll be some more later on in the end of the season as well. So, but overall, not a bad weekend for the Panthers.
Quick swap over there. Thanks for that, mate. Yeah, seamless. Anyway, what?
I didn't realise you changed.
Yeah, do you think he disappeared? That's why he had to. Anyway.
I find it quite offensive.
Wow. Anyway, moving on. We're going to be looking at some of the other results in the Elite League in this opening weekend. Very good weekend for Dundee.
Very good indeed. You can't ask for anything more, can you, to be honest? Tough places to go as well. But, yeah, not bad.
Yeah, I mean, 2 great results, you know. Brayhead, again, not that great.
No, I mean, I was well,
Really?
I was quite surprised actually. I mean, we said a lot on pre-season and last week about how we think Bray had looked nailed on for the conference, and they probably had the worst. Well, they have had the worst possible start that they could.
I'm sure it's not what Finity was hoping for, but play the sort of, it's better to get these results out of the way earlier on, and you were always going to get these. Opening weekend is a weekend where, like we said last week, everyone's on a level playing field. There are teams like your Dundees, like your Fives, they're going to be there and they are going to want to take a scalp. And, I still think this season Brayhead are the scalp in that conference. So, I'm sure there's going to be many more results like that from both conferences, over the season. So,
just looking at a very decent start for Belfast, 5-0 win on Saturday night, and then a good result in Cardiff, 7-2. However, of course, Cardiff were without their starting netminder Lacosta, but it seems like he might have a concussion. That's bad news for them.
It is. I mean, if it is, depends how long it's going to last. You can't mess with these things, So, and they've shown that without him, they do miss him, and like any team's going to miss their important netminder, the number one.
For Belfast, though, that's still a good result, I think,
and
that would be my sort of result of the weekend, because that's ruthlessness. They could have gone there and gone, well, fair enough, Joe Mars is in goal, we'll scrape this, 3, 4, whatever, we'll take it easy. But they've gone there and they have put a marker down to say, we mean business, and poor lady really couldn't have wished for anything more. And that's a good 13 goals scored over the weekend. No, 12. I'm no Carol Vorderman, but no, that just shows that they've got off to a flyer, and you can't ask for anything more, like I say.
I think they've gone about everything quite quietly in the background. Nobody's really built them up, and
exactly.
they're certainly going to be a team to watch. Coventry, not a great start for them. Two defeats: defeat against Sheffield on Saturday in the cup, and then again a defeat to Dundee. But it's a long
tough games. To face Sheffield, who are most people's tip for the title on opening day, and then to travel up to Dundee, who, like you mentioned last week, could be a surprise package. It's a tough weekend for them, and I'm sure they'll grow as the season goes on.
Well, we've got one or two tweets. We asked you to tweet into us. Thank you. At Cats Whiskers TV, tweet address is on the screen now. So, Paul, what you got there?
I've got one from, Random Pish.
Flyers fan, I believe.
I believe he is, yeah. He's saying the team are taking time to gel. Reba and Roll look good signings, and Nickerson hadn't been briefed, was just off the flame, and is likely to calm down after he got a match penalty for fighting. Bless him.
Yeah, I mean, that's obviously something that's going to come out, match penalty for fighting. That was served last night in the game against Edinburgh. However, we'll see if the Elite League put any extra on that, which could obviously come into the Panthers game on Saturday, but we have to wait and see.
That's down to Hansen, isn't it? That's good old Murray, isn't
Murray,
it?
Old Murray, who's in charge now.
Murray,
Good to see him back, as we said last week. Very
exactly.
good. So, any catch your eye of what we got sent?
Let's just have a look here. You're in the Flyers programme this week.
I'm in the Flyers.
He's in the Flyers programme.
Oh, is he? No. Yeah. That one didn't catch my eye.
Buy it. Buy me one.
Let's have a look. Let's look at Doug, Clan fan Doug. Now I saw
friend of the show.
I was reading your tweets, Doug, and you didn't look very happy and sound very happy. But he just says obviously that although we lost plenty of chances to score in both games, but didn't take them. Scott Arson, for me, is quality. So maybe he'll be somebody that the clan can look forward to reviving their fortunes.
Yeah, I mean, we did get one or two from Brayhead fans, including Ticket Ted, who said that Brayhead did have a lot of the chances, just didn't put them away, and that was the difference for them.
You have to think that them sort of chances will come over the season, and they are still 2 imports down as well. Waiting for 2 to come in.
That was something we saw against Hull. I mean, there are a couple of examples. There's one where Francis was just stood on his own, middle of the ice. There was one where Loins was, again, no, it wasn't Loins, it was Capraro, sorry. It was wide open at the back post. The pass didn't come through to him. That stuff will come over time. So, it will come, I'm sure it'll come for Braid as well.
Couple of others. I've got to read this one out. Steelers fan Johnny from Donny. It's quality. So he says best performance for Steelers came from Steve Gertson, summarising with Seth Bennett on BBC Radio Sheffield on the commentary. I think that tells you all you need to know about Sheffield's performance this week and what their fans think about it.
Don't really need to say anything else about that, do you? Really?
It was one of the few repeatable ones we had from Sheffield. If we're honest.
It's true. It's true.
I mean, I know we've talked about obviously Panthers and the lines that obviously we talked about the Lacko, Francis and Salter's line looking good. But I mean, just obviously Chris Bull sits near me. Hi, Chris, you all right, mate? Bob Wren stood out, very calm, skillful, and deadly in front of goal. Now, just on that, obviously, David Ling was a massive influence in the team last season. Bob Wren's come in, and he's not really been mentioned a lot, has he? Not a lot of people have sort of talked about him, but. I think experience.
I think Saturday 2+1 on Saturday. I think he got 2 assists last night.
I thought he was excellent Saturday night. If Lacko hadn't got the man of the match for and deservedly so for the hat trick, then I'd have given it Wren. He's got his hands are really good. He really he sees a game beautifully. And credit as well to Chris Murray for the goal he scored, because I just happened to be watching him. He just ghosted in and just ripped it.
Well, once again, thanks very much for sending your tweets in. That's something we'll probably keep up every week, and as many fans as possible, especially from other teams, not just about Panthers. I know we mainly are, but we'd like to hear from everyone. Yeah. So thanks very much.
Hi, I'm Tom Norton, and you're watching Cats Whiskers TV.
Okay, now we're going to move on to probably what was one of the most controversial things about the Elite League last week, and that's
not the word I'd use.
It's the advert at Sheffield, the Ogilvy advert that is behind the goal, which is navy blue. I can confirm it's navy blue. That stretches from the back of the goal right to the goal line, covering behind the goal. Now, IIHF rules say that should be white ice. Sheffield claim that they have checked with all the governing bodies and they've told them it's legal, but I can honestly say you kept losing track of the puck every time it went there. There was an incident in the third period where Craig Kowalski frees the puck in there and the whistle didn't go because Tom Darnell couldn't see the puck, and Kowalski then had to wave his glove hand to say, look, now I've got it.
At least Darnell's got an excuse now.
Actually, to give Tom Darnell his credit, I thought he refereed both games very well this weekend. I've got to give the officials credit. We bash them enough when they make mistakes, but I thought they officiated both games very well. So, anyway, moving on. Well, I'll just go opinions.
I'll start off with health and safety. Let's be diplomatic about this. How that can be safe. You just mentioned Craig Kowalski putting his, gloving the ball there and icing
the ball.
The ball. Did I say ball?
Yeah.
Wow.
You mean the puck?
That's what I mean. Yeah. Gloving the puck.
Well done.
Thank you. Just imagine if you've got a player behind the goal, and there's a scuffle and stuff like that, and there's players going for the puck, and then you get a defenseman like we are seeing in the Elite League this season come charging up to board you into the boards. That's got to be health and safety when you're looking for a puck, because it's just not safe. And I'm sorry, as a club, how first of all you've got the nerve to do that, I think is just unreal. And I'm sure they'll say it's sponsorship, obviously, because of how it is. It's obviously a sponsor's spent lots of money possibly or whatever, but the rules are there. Anybody can go and check the rules, and for a club to say that
just blatantly ignore them.
You just go, don't matter, it's fine. We'll do what we want. I hope that somebody makes them, and the next time we play them there, that ice is white. And I know the Panthers, if you look at the report, they've put a report in So we'll see how that goes. But it's just ridiculous. It's a joke that the club actually have the audacity to just ignore a rule and paint it whatever colour they want and think that they can get away with it. And it's Sheffield all over, and like I say, it's a joke.
I mean, let's face it, they're the ones who's going to be more disadvantaged from it because they play on it. So it's not like it's not like they're gaining an advantage. It actually disadvantages them quite seriously.
I'm not sure you still need me after all that, do you? You know, it goes without saying. You know, where you've got, something where the player's got to look down. Somebody hits him in that split second, because hockey's a game of split second timing. Because he's had to look down. So, that's an injury waiting to happen, and they've got a few quid for doing it. Great. Is that worth somebody getting seriously injured? I honestly can't see it lasting beyond. I think it will go this time, and I think it will go just after Sheffield lose points on a goal that should or shouldn't have been given.
I think it'll go. I think, my honest opinion, and having read and heard things and been there yesterday, I just think it's a publicity stunt. I think they've just gone with a publicity stunt, and by the next game it'll probably be gone. Because the thing is, it's quite the Ogilvy is at the back of the net. Yeah. And then the blue just stretches right down to the goal line. You don't need that. But the subway's not so bad. If they made it white, that subway would be fine.
Yeah,
it'd be
but
fine.
You say that's a publicity stunt. I know that, the news and everybody's talking about the club, but to me, if I, was new to the game or, was just following it this season, I wouldn't look on Sheffield as a good club for that. So what's the point in the publicity, really, if it's just going to be bad? Because then that, you're damaging your club's reputation. And, so much is made of how the Panthers are a good organisation and there are other teams out there that are good organisations. And Sheffield, in my eyes, a total blunder where you're possibly trying to rebuild your reputation in light of your nearest rival's reputation. So publicity stunt, sorry, but whoever's in charge of their media / whatever needs the red testing.
I mean, seeing it, you could quite easily cut it down without any loss to the sponsor whatsoever. And I know Sheffield were claiming, "Whoa, look at all the publicity we got." Yeah, it was negative publicity. Yeah. I mean, they even got to North America where they're probably thinking, "What a bush league this is if they're for allowing that."
Yeah, I mean, there's the argument that all publicity is good publicity, but the way it was just picked up on in North America and just making fools of it, and right, they can say, "Oh, but loads of people are going to see our sponsors." Yeah, because if I'm sat in Calgary, the first thing I'm going to want to do when I see that is, I've got to go to England and hire an Ogilvy car. It's just, I mean, and the problem is that it's got the Elite League's those articles got the Elite League name all over it, so we're all getting tarred with the same brush, and that's embarrassing.
I mean, the thing is, I think I ought to make it clear we are having a go at Sheffield, the club here, because even the Sheffield fans are up in arms about this. Because I was having a look on Steel Talk today, and a lot of them were saying they just completely lost track of the puck.
I don't see the sense in it. I really don't see any sense in that. But then you look at the ice, and I mean, could you fit any more sponsors on that ice, realistically? I mean,
I don't see a problem with that. I think fair play to them for getting that amount of sponsors. It brings them cash, and you can't. I can't knock that.
No, but that obviously backs up the fact that it is purely down to sponsors. The reason why that black ice is there is for a sponsor. What's the reason about it? But then apparently there's white stripes on the post, on the goals, against the back of a white boarding. So again, what's the sense in that?
There's been plenty of other places that have had that. They have that in Coventry. I was going to say Europe, but yeah, Coventry's in Europe. Yeah, so that's not. But you got to remember, Coventry used to have their web address against the blue line, and it went like that. But hey, the sign writers are.
So got a quick predictions. How long do you think it'll be before it's gone?
I said maximum a fortnight.
October.
I will say it'll be gone by the next game. So stay tuned. Stay tuned. We'll see who's right. I'm with the new manager of the Bunkers Hill, Nick Honorati. First off, mate, thanks for letting us film the show in here every week. We really appreciate it.
Brilliant, no problem, anytime.
Okay. Now, you've recently joined the pub as manager, and you've got some pretty hefty plans for hockey fans, I believe.
Yeah, I mean, I'm a big hockey fan. I used to be a Panthers season ticket holder when I was 14, 15. I just think it'd be about time we had a proper supporters bar in Nottingham where the Panthers fans and the away fans can come in and know they're appreciated. They can come in and see various hockey shirts, sticks, memorabilia on the walls, and somewhere where they can come and they can talk about the games, upcoming, past games, whatever, with like-minded people, really.
So you're after a few donations of memorabilia, and you're not bothered where it comes from, any club, any fans?
Completely, anything. Hockey sticks, shirts, pucks, signed, whether it's recent, old, whatever. The older the better, the more history, the better it is, really.
So we can see we've got quite a few little bits around, but we want to cover the bar, really?
Completely. The one thing I'm really looking for is a GB shirt. If anyone's got a GB shirt, it would be much appreciated.
So there you go, there's a request, GB shirt. Bunker's Twitter is on the screen now, so if you want to get in touch with Nick that way through Twitter, and I'm sure you'll accept any donations that come your way.
Completely. One other thing before you guys leave me, we're doing a big Continental Cup party where we will be doing a barbecue outside and live entertainment on the Friday, the Saturday and the Sunday. So please guys, come along, support your local supporters bar, and we'll support you back with great drinks offers.
Great stuff. Well, thanks very much, mate, and say get your donations into Nick as soon as you can.
Thank you.
We're going to have a look ahead to the games this weekend in the Elite League. Start off with, I think, Panthers and the Steelers as well. Panthers with a triple header in Scotland. Steelers are there Saturday and Sunday. Could all kick off. But
or they could all go out for a drink together.
I think it'd be the latter, to be honest. Start with the Panthers first. Dundee Friday. That's going to be a tough one.
It's a good test. It's a good test to start the weekend off, isn't it? It's possibly the hardest game of the three. Absolutely. But no detracting anything from 5-4 Edinburgh. We've got to. These are the games we've got. I'm getting into that again. I'm not going there. It's going to be a difficult weekend. Yeah, move on.
I mean, the thing is, both teams are going in there with momentum. Panthers with 2 wins, Dundee with 2 wins, but Dundee at home, so that may give them the sort of home ice advantage. But it's going to be tough, that one, I think.
Oh, yeah, I would say that from a Panthers point of view, you'd want it to be in that order of games. Dundee, Fife, Edinburgh. You wouldn't want it. You wouldn't want Dundee last, possibly. After being up there for a couple of games, and you just don't know. That third game's always a tricky one. It is a tough one. I mean, Paul didn't want to say it, but these are the games that you want to win, and these are the games that we did win last year. We went up there, we got 6 points from these games, and again, we need to be looking for, I would say, a minimum of 5, really. I think if we left there with 5 points, I'd take that this early on in the season. But it's going to be a good test, and it's a good early test as well. So
especially I think 5 on Saturday night as well, because last time we were in 5 playoffs, we lost there, 4-2. We all know how raucous and that crowd can get, and how much behind their team they are, and that they are to use a cliche carrier, they're the extra man.
Yeah. Are they doing a stream?
I don't know.
All right. Well, I thought we'd give them a plug. Yeah, I mean,
tweet in 5 fans, let us know.
Yeah, please. You'll have £8 off me, no problem. Yeah, don't bother with commentators. Just leave the crowd sound noise. Oh, beautiful. But yeah, I mean, 5. It's a great place to go for a game. The crowd really are, up there with them, and you better buy me a programme if you're going.
Yeah, I will do.
Yeah. But going back to that Dundee game, that's going to be a real good sort of pointer as to how good the 2 leagues, the 2 conferences are. Us against them, a fancy team in our conference against one in theirs. See how they match up. I think you could have 2-3 really good games there.
Yeah. I think with Sunday, with the best will in the world, I'd be very disappointed if we got anything less than the victory in Edinburgh.
Yeah, exactly. I think out of the 3 there, I'm sure every coach, looks at the fixtures and they'll look where they get 2 points, they'll look where possibly they'll get one, and they'll look where maybe on the odd night they might lose. And I think, if we were the coach, Corey there, I think we'd maybe put a 2-pointer down to that Edinburgh one. So, if we left there with anything less, it would be a disappointment. But you do not know, because, you don't know the results from the 2 previous nights, tiredness. There's a lot of new faces that are going to go up to a road trip up to Scotland, not know what's hit them properly when they go to Fife, because yes, they've got European experience, but Fife is something else, isn't it? Like we've said, that is something else. But on the flip side, it's a good early test for the new players and the team as a whole to go up there, team bonding, to really get a core of the team spirit there.
I think that's it. It's a really good chance. I mean, we've already had the trip to Rotterdam, or to near Rotterdam. And, but to go up there 3 days away together just to bond, or discover that they all hate each other just as likely.
You never know.
Well, Steelers as well are very fragile, Sheffield Steelers, for the double header in Scotland. I think they'll be happy to have Edinburgh on Saturday night.
Yes, it's one where I imagine Big Doug will be saying, well, I imagine he won't have to say much, to be honest. You get out there, you get those 2 points, and you show me you are the team that I believe you are, but I don't know, it happened last year, didn't it? They went up to Scotland and they lost a few times. I don't know, if what I would say though is if they do lose that game, the next game against Dundee.
Yeah, I mean that's their
pressure already.
Big pressure. I mean that's their tough game. Sunday in Dundee. They could struggle there if they play like they did on Sunday night. They will struggle there.
Yeah, I mean, and hopefully they'll wear Edinburgh out for us as well. But yeah, I mean, if Dundee are as good as they look, then if you go up there with anybody goes up there with any sort of frailty, any complacency, they'll do you.
And the thing about Dundee is they play us on the Friday. They've got a rest on the Saturday, and then they're back in it on Sunday.
Depending on the result against this, Dundee could be sky high in confidence, couldn't they?
Exactly.
So you don't know.
Pick out a few of the others. Saturday, Belfast, Coventry. Yeah, that's a big game for Coventry after their start against an informed Giants.
Yeah. Well, it's a game for Belfast. They've only got the one game at the weekend. It's one to chalk off, and have the rest day on the Sunday, and a good weekend all around.
You can give it everything for that one game. You don't have to worry about the night after. But I mean, and then Coventry got Fife at home the Sunday. If Fife start to gel, if Nicholson calms down.
Yeah.
But I think it'll be a home win. But I think Fife will give them a good game.
Let's say we've got Cardiff against Bray, and I mean Bray had one game this weekend, and that won't be the one they wanted after their start.
No, I mean depending obviously on Lacosta whether he'll be back in net or not, but from obviously Finity's point of view, he'll be wanting to pick up a win as soon as possible. And Cardiff, say Myers in goal. There's a chance there, because Bray, they've got a good side on paper, and I think maybe just they need time. Last season was such a bad time. Yeah, it just needs time to gel and stuff. And Finity's obviously would have learnt a lot from last season, and he'll take time for him to get into the groove of it again. And but it's a good opportunity if Lacosta isn't there to go and get the 2 points.
And then finally, Hull Cardiff on Sunday, Challenge Cup game. Hull probably quite a lot of confidence. It's their only game of the weekend, especially after their result last Sunday. So
Hull win for me.
Yeah. I think you could be right there.
We've said all along that Hull have built a team to play in their own very versatile arena.
There is Olympic size actually, because we did say in the season preview, and we made a mistake. We did say it was a small rink, and it's not. It's actually Olympic size. So,
but you've got the crowd close. If there's they get a few in. That's different. You can have arenas like ours. The ice is the same size, but you got the fans. A lot of them are a long way away. In Hull, they can hear you. If you're having a word, they can hear you. So, and that affects them. If the Hull fans can get at Cardiff, if they haven't got Lacosta, could be a close game. Could be a close one to call. Yeah.
Right then, well, thanks as always, gentlemen. That is the end of the show. I will be in Scotland this weekend. I will have the camera and the microphone with me. I won't add to that. So please come and talk to me. Come and talk on camera. Fans of all the sides of there, Panthers, Dundee, Fife, and Edinburgh would love to talk to you. We will be back next week, looking back on those games and looking ahead once again. But until then, goodbye.
Yeah.